Hey y'all, welcome back to Poplar Creek Farm. Tonight I'm out in my garden. I'm getting some weeding done. This is fresh soil that we've been, using this year. Our house is brand new and this vacant land was untouched for many years. We have a lot of weeds that we're dealing with, but we also have quite the abundance going on here. I've got lots of baby tomatoes and baby peppers started. No baby beans quite yet, no peas yet, but we've been harvesting lettuce weekly. We can do the cut and come again every week right now, and actually sometimes twice a week. But we're really starting to get into the summer gardening season where we actually have stuff coming in the house finally. It's only lettuce at this point, but we will get more things coming soon. Like I said, lots and lots of baby tomatoes. But one of the big things I want to talk to you guys about is, even though we're just getting into the summer gardening season, I'm already starting to plan my fall garden. I'm planning for it. I'm not obviously starting anything yet, but I did get seeds today from Fruition Seeds, which if you guys have not heard of Fruition Seeds, and I have no financial affiliation or support or anything from them, but I order most of my seeds from them. They are absolutely amazing. So I ordered my seeds on Friday. Today's Monday, and I got them already. There's one packet that won't come for a little bit, but that's fine. Again, this is for my fall garden. It's not for right now anyways. But in July, I will be starting a lot of those seeds. So I will kind of show you guys what seeds I'll be starting when that time comes. But one of the things that's really important is planning for your fall garden, and not necessarily just for what you actually want to plant and harvest. Because this is such raw land, and we have clay soil, which if anybody's not familiar with clay soil, it's really, really dense. When it rains, especially when it pours, the water just pools on top. It doesn't absorb quickly, and once it does absorb, it cracks. It cracks everywhere, and it's super dry and hard. So it's like you either get sopping wet or super dry. There's really no in between. It's not nice and fluffy to work with. It's hard to dig in. This soil is a little bit better in here because we did add manure, but I'm going to go over some of the other ways that we're going to amend our soil in the fall. And that's one of the best times to amend your soil because you have all winter then to allow it to rest and, kind of rejuvenate. So I'll show you guys real quick some of these babies. And there's so many of them. The cherry tomatoes are really, really starting to set some babies. Obviously lots and lots of blossoms, but then find ones like this. Getting babies. It's so crazy to see just the growth and how quickly it starts up. Here is a Mountaineer red, sweet red tomato, or pepper from Fruition Seeds. And that is just looking amazing. I mean, we're middle of June in New York. That's pretty incredible to have some baby peppers already. I love these ones. So these are my my Paul Robeson, and you can see just what they're going to look like, when they get big. This will have more of that kind of squashed shape to it. I just love it. Here's also sweet red, or I'm sorry, red rocket, which is a hot red. So this is going to be used for salsa. I can't wait. And obviously lots and lots of blossoms, and even more babies. I'm also going to tonight harvest these garlic scapes. So these are from Hard Nut Garlic. They send up these scapes, which are these swirly things, and they taste just like garlic, and they're pretty firm. I'm gonna pull them up and I'm gonna make some pesto. I don't have a ton of them, so my garlic looked really good for a while, and then it kind of just, a bunch of the ones down here kind of just died off, or not died off, but just stopped growing. Some of them have a few scapes on them, but not a ton, so we'll get some from these ones. Look at those Brussels sprouts. I cannot wait to see them send up their big shoot. And then my lettuces are doing so good. One last thing before I get into how to amend your soil. Look at that onion. That's pretty good size already. Keep kind of trying to keep it covered, but they're doing really good. And those I started from seed. So some of the things that concern me most about my soil that I want to amend or change is the density of it. You know, clay soil again is very, very dense, which does sometimes make things that are root vegetables really hard to grow. Carrots can be really hard because they just don't want to grow down. They kind of end up very stumpy and short. They're just kind of funky looking. They're not like typical carrots. Even, you know, beets, turnips, anything that's grown in the ground as a root vegetable, they just kind of struggle in this soil. So density, aeration, there's really no aeration in clay soil. It is rock hard, nothing wants to get through it, and it's really difficult. It's difficult to till, and yes, you can have great, you know, health of your soil nutrient-wise in clay soil. It can be very nutrient dense, but nothing can get the nutrients because there's no aeration in it, and it's hard. It's compact. So those are some things that I really wanna fix. And then for me, weeds. Again, I am constantly out here picking weeds, especially these vines. Oh goodness, drive me insane. But because this was raw soil, there's tons of weeds. I tilled it, pretty much just reseed weeds. We will continue to till it some in the fall, but what I'm going to do, a couple things that I'm going to do for that, well, the things that I'm going to do that'll benefit all of these, all of my problems, are first I'm going to when the season's done, I'm going to let my chickens and ducks in here. Chickens especially will scratch, and they'll help break up the soil and aerate it. And their droppings that they'll leave me in here will help with the nutrients. It'll break down. We will also add more manure. So our neighbors down the road are getting some steers in the next few weeks. And my aunt still obviously has her horses and donkeys, so I will get probably another couple loads of manure, and maybe some compost from the local waste management company. Compost and manure will both really add a lot of nitrogen and aerate the soil. The soil in this garden, compared to right next to it where we didn't add anything, is vastly different. This at least does have some fluff to it, and it is a little bit easier to work with versus the soil right next door. You know, our lawn is just rock hard compact. So this definitely got some benefit from the manure. Alright, so one of the other things that we're gonna do, other than just breaking up material and, you know, putting more poop on top and whatnot, is also I'm going to plant clover again. I debated it and I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do it. But what clover does is it's going to choke out a lot of these weeds. So basically if we plant clover, it's a placeholder. So it's going to hold the soil so it doesn't erode, especially in the spring as things, you know, we get a good amount of snow here, which I don't even want to think about right now. But we get a good amount of snow here. And so if we don't have a placeholder or something to kind of hold the soil, when it comes spring and all the soil or all the snow melts off, any nutrients that are at the top few layers are just going to wash away. And so cover crops are really good for holding on to nutrients in your soil and preventing runoff. Runoff is a huge problem not only for somebody like me who is a gardener, but also for, you know, big farmers. They lose a lot to runoff, and they also add a lot of really negative things in the soil by runoff. So any of their pesticides and herbicides that they use, they run off with the rainwater because most farmers don't use placeholders. They don't use cover crops, and it would be hugely beneficial for our water system if they did. So if we plant clover, it's going to prevent runoff, prevent, you know, nutrients washing away. It will be a placeholder so that the weeds hopefully will not overtake this garden again, because if you have something there, it's the same thing if you plant grass seed in an area that had weeds. The grass is going to at least take away some of the weeds, even if it doesn't take them all away. The clover will take away some of the weeds, and it will help you know, kind of break things down, or, you know, take the place of the weeds, which is going to be really nice. Also, clover is amazing for a natural tiller. So I want to get away from tilling my soil at a certain point. Right now that's not an option. It's just not feasible. I can't add enough layering to this to not need to compost it or need to till it right now. That would be very, very expensive, and we just don't have that ability right now. So clover has really deep roots, and it naturally tills your soil, breaks it up with its roots, aerates it, adds that really healthy layer of aeration. And it'll naturally tilt my soil, and it adds nitrogen, which nitrogen is so important for many, many crops. They a lot of times are big nitrogen users, and they can suck up nitrogen, and then you really don't have it in your soil, and you can't plant the same thing over again in that area. So the clover will really help add. So I'm going to plant clover in the fall. I will then probably till it in early spring, if we can use the tiller in early spring. If it's not too wet, if we get a week of dry, we'll go ahead and till it up, and then I will probably plant it again in the spring, because I don't want it to go to seed or to go to flower. As much as I love clover for flower, my whole orchard has clover, and that's intended to go to flower for the bees. But in here, I don't want it to go to flower because I don't want it to continually reseed itself. I don't want to be fighting clover to grow plants. But if I plant it again in the spring, let it start to grow again, it's going to take the place of weeds. So I can till up my area that I'm going to use for my early spring crops, my cold weather crops, not plant another layer there, but plant my crops. But where I'm not going to be planting right away, I will plant the clover to, again, hold the place of those weeds, and so I don't have to deal with the weeds anymore. I'm so sick of weeding. But I will go ahead and do that, and then I will till it right before I'm going to go ahead and plant. So those are my big things for amending my soil. There's a million, people say a million comments that people will tell you to do for clay soil. Add gypsum, add lime, those things. Those actually really don't have a whole lot of proof that they work. Or add sand. Sand and clay pretty much just creates concrete. Your soil will become harder. Instead of, you would think, oh, well, a loamy soil is a mix of sand and clay, but it's actually a natural mix. Whereas if you mix sand into the soil, all it's going to do is just make it rock hard, more rock hard than it already is. So I don't want to be doing that. I want to be adding good green material, good brown material, natural tilling, natural nitrogen fixers. I don't have to weed anymore. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about my ways of planting my fall garden, which includes, not only planning for the actual crops, but also planning to amend my soil year after year. I would like to plant a garden in this area for the rest of my life. I want to stay in this house and plant here forever. So if I don't fix my soil year after year, or add to it, try to benefit it, I will not be successful year after year. I will struggle with my garden. So thank y'all for joining me. Please like and subscribe and join me on the next one.